Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video on everything Airbnb, so yeah, stay tuned. Right, let's get into the video. So I thought it would be good. I'm currently in one of my Airbnb units at the moment, so I thought it'd be good for us to just kind of have a chat about what Airbnb is, or actually serviced accommodation, because the term for it isn't actually Airbnb, although that's what's obviously known a lot more on social media and stuff. It is serviced accommodation. So we are going to be diving into everything serviced accommodation, or what is serviced accommodation, that kind of thing. So to start, essentially, serviced accommodation / Airbnb is when you rent a property on a nightly rate rather than, let's say, how you would do a normal tenancy, let's say to a family or something like that. So essentially what it is when you rent it out night by night, what you would accumulate over the month is a lot more than the standard way of letting it out. So the profits are going to be more. You can do this obviously if you own a property and you can put it on Airbnb yourself, or a lot of people use the model, which is what I do, which is rent to service accommodation. And this is where I find a landlord and I would rent the property from the landlord, and then I would then rent it out on a nightly rate through my company. So first of all, when you are looking to get started into Airbnb, I would probably say researching your area is going to be the biggest thing. So my area is obviously Leicester because that's where I'm from. We do really well here, so just making sure that you have things like amenities, transport links, restaurants, bars, that kind of thing. Just making sure that people actually come, whether it's for work, pleasure, whatever it is. So yeah, that's what you want to be looking out for. But actually, in terms of getting started, what is it, how do you do it, we're going to be diving into that a little bit more. So essentially, how I got started, or how you would potentially get started if this is like the first time that you are hearing about service accommodation or Airbnb, is like I've mentioned, the property. So when you do find the property, you want to make sure that all of the numbers add up. So for example, in this property that I'm in at the moment, the rent on it is £900 a month, and this is for a 1-bedroom apartment in Leicester. And to be honest, this is pretty average. It is pretty small, but it is a nice kind of flow to the apartment. So I'm currently sat in the living room bit, but obviously this is the dining table. So £900 a month. Then you've got to think of things like utilities. So the broadband is £33 a month, including VAT, Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi, sorry, I'd always said that. Electric's about £132 a month. Council tax, because this is the first property in this limited company, I actually don't pay council tax on this property, but let's just say council tax to be £120. Let's say all in with absolutely everything, cleaning, £1,500 a month. At the moment, this property is currently doing, I think it's about 2,350. So just going off the 1,400, not 1,400, sorry, 1,500 maximum, all costs in, that kind of thing, you're looking at a minimum on that £700 to £850 profit a month, which is obviously a lot more than if I was to just not have anything. So for someone like myself who's just trying to get started in property, making sure that those numbers really work and making sure that there is opportunity to have that wiggle room, because there are going to be months that are a little bit slower and then you can have months that are a little bit higher. At the moment we are in peak season because it's summer, so we've been full. We've had a direct client come in on a Monday to Friday, and then weekends we've just had normal people predominantly for pleasure booking in on the weekends, but you can obviously charge a little bit more on the Friday and Saturday night, which has been nice. So yeah, that is that in terms of what it is, how to get started, and also looking at the numbers, just making sure that they make sense, because a lot of people online or within the property industry are going to be selling a deal. Like for example, I seen someone put a deal in for one of these flats, but it's actually around the corner. It's not to do with this landlord, but it's around the corner, and the rent on it was 1,200 for exactly the same as what I'm paying here. So if I was to then obviously take out that 200, it's like £500 minimum, which is all right, it's decent. A lot of people are happy with that, but realistically, for the hassle and stress that comes along with being an Airbnb host, you know, the messages and stuff like that, it's like, is it worth it for £500? You really want to be pushing for more than that, even though I know that a lot of courses say, you know, £500 profit minimum is where you want to be. That's great, but essentially that's not why you get started in the business, and that should not be your aims. So yeah, I would definitely say looking at the actual property and the deal and the number, just making sure it makes sense. I think at the beginning, when I first started, because I was that eager and I wanted to obviously work with landlords, I was going to take on a deal that I don't think actually made financial sense. So it's just kind of having that break and pause to actually say, is what I'm doing the right thing, essentially. So yeah, making sure that it's obviously close to restaurants, pubs and stuff like that, because you want to gain attraction. That's really big. As a service accommodation Airbnb host, you want to make sure that the stuff's going on in the area so that people actually do stay. And then once you have got started, obviously you found the property, you would furnish it to a really nice standard to make sure that it's obviously nice for when people come to stay, similar to a hotel standard. We have everything that's fully furnished, so complete fully furnished kitchen, pots, pans, utensils, everything that we've got, you name it. We do also provide like tea, coffee, milk, that kind of thing, just to make it a little bit warmly, especially if we've got like contractors in on a Monday to Friday, just to make it feel a little bit homely for them. But that's the kind of stuff that we do. With this, we kind of go for the mid interior design. What's the word? Mid interior design, like inspo kind of vibe. We don't go for the very high end luxury, but then we don't go for the low budget. And I feel like I'm really happy with that, because when people come here for the price that they pay, I think they're a little bit shocked, like, oh, this is actually really, really nice. We expected it to be a little bit more, or we didn't expect it to look as nice as the pictures. Quite a few people have said that to me, and I'm like, why? But yeah, essentially that kind of works for us, because I feel like when you are someone and you go really high end and really high budget, that's when you've got to do 10 times more work, in my opinion, in terms of the marketing and the clients and the this and that. Whereas majority of people that are travelling or are going for work or nights out and stuff, they don't want to be paying the premium because they're only there for a few nights. But then they obviously don't want to be staying in somewhere that's really like low budget, not nice. They still want it to feel. So I think that works for me. Obviously, whatever you choose is completely down to you, and your journey at the end of the day will be your Airbnb. So essentially, I've talked you through getting a correct property in the right area, having a look at the numbers, furnishing it and what standard you would like to furnish it to, and then obviously setting up, you just want to make sure that you've got all your insurances, you've got all the correct contracts with the landlord, just to make sure that you are kind of backed up as well in case of emergency, maintenance costs, that kind of thing. And then once you actually get started, you would then put the property on all different types of booking platforms, market it, and just get people through your funnel. We would advise to focus predominantly on direct clients, because once you gain that initial traction from, let's say, Booking.com's the #1 platform, you've got Airbnb, you've got all these other ones that are on there too. You want people to come directly because there is a booking fee. So let's say with Booking.com, whatever you make, so let's say it's £100 for the night, Booking.com take 15%, so they will take £15 off you. And that's essentially how it works. But where you can, to avoid those costs, that's essentially what you want to do. So I would focus a lot more on direct clients, getting the long-term bookings, because that's really where your profits are made. You're not going to have to pay for cleaning, you know, every single night. It just works out and it's a lot more costly. So for example, my cleaning bill last month was £19.75. What was it? I'm on about this one property. It was £165 for the month, which, in all honesty, is really good, considering the amount of like money that I actually made during that month from bookings and stuff. So yeah, that was really, really nice. So that is essentially what Airbnb is. This is a very quick breakdown and overview. So if you are thinking to get started in Airbnb, these are kind of like the baby steps, but you do want to do your research. I am going to be doing a lot more content and videos on actually breaking down each section. I know that you guys have been messaging me on lots of different platforms asking about how to get started, and also once you are started, how to continue, because I'll be honest with you guys, it is becoming quite a saturated market. It is getting a lot harder, so you always want to make sure that you are on top of your games. But saying that, it is very profitable, and if you do it correctly, you can make a lot of money, which is what I plan to do, and I'm sure that's what you plan to do, or else you wouldn't be here. So perfect. Join me for the next video and also more property content, guys. I hope you enjoy this video and let me know your feedback in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe as well. See you later, guys.